Okay, we are live. Just making sure that we're in the group, that I'm actually live in the group because God knows my technical issues. There we go. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Path to Healing workshop. Today is day 3. As you can see right there in the corner, we have Matt Rowe on deck. Today is Get Your Mind on Board with Matt Rowe. The reason why I bring in additional coaches into the Path to Healing program is because I can give you all the information in the world about how to heal your body on the physical level. But what I've learned is that you have to address all the levels in order to heal something completely. So we do the body, the mind, and the soul in the Path to Healing group. Yeah. Now, whether or not you work with me in the Path to Healing, you work with Matt, or you work with another mindset coach, we want to show you how important it is to address what's going on up here, because that is what's going to manifest in the body. So Matt Rowe is with us today. Before we get started with Matt, though, I want to say that thank you with the homework. My God, it was wonderful. What I did was I printed all the homework entries out. I have them in that jar right there. And at the end of the call, when everybody's on, we'll pull a name again. And congratulations to Jessica. She won yesterday's. And so one more thing before we get started, I have to say the disclaimer. All the information that you're getting here in this workshop and all the Live at Fives, I just have to say, I'm not a doctor. I am not a health certified in anything. Basically, I have the same disclaimer on everything that the medical medium has, which basically says, I don't know what I'm talking about. Don't listen to me, because I'm not a medical doctor. So just know that going forward. Another thing is we are doing this all week, Monday through Friday at 12 o'clock. And then on Friday, what I'm going to do is give you a sneak peek into the Path to Healing program, what it looks like. But right now, it's on the website. If you want to go read about it, look at the calendar, see how much it is, look at the payment options. It's all there for you. And I'm going to leave enrollment open this week and probably for the following week. Because what we like to do is we like to bring in a new group of people and then close out the group and then work with them for 4 months. And then we do another workshop where we teach you everything so that you have all the information by the end of the week. You have everything you need to heal. And then you can decide, okay, do I want to go it alone? Or do I want to do it in a group? Or do I want to do one-on-one coaching with the coaches? There is an option here for everybody. So depending on what your resources are financially, there is an option for you. There's no reason to not heal. All the information is here. So now that I got all that out of the way, let's bring on Matt Rowe. And thank you so much, Matt, for being here today. How are you doing?
You are so welcome, Jeanene, and it's such a pleasure to be here. And I see a couple of individuals that I know that are on here. I see them in the thread. So welcome, everybody. So glad you're here.
So let's talk a little bit. Now I'm in the comments, guys, on my phone, so I can see look at everybody jumping on there. All right, we have Suzanne and Brittany and Sarah and Kara. Hello. All right, thanks for jumping on and saying hi. And anytime during this session today, if you have a question, put it in the comments there and I'll ask Matt directly. And don't worry, I'm using StreamYard, so that's why I'm using my phone, so I can actually see who's commenting. Because if you don't register with StreamYard, I only see Facebook user, but don't worry about it. That's why I use my phone. So Matt, yes. You and I met a couple years ago and we did that podcast together. And I was amazed at your story. I want everyone to know that all of the coaches in the Path to Healing program are people who have healed themselves. And you are an MS conqueror. You've healed yourself from MS. Yes. Could you please tell us the story about, start from the beginning. Let's hear it.
Sure. So back from the beginning, in 2006, I was an All-American triathlete. My ego ran my life, but it also ran every aspect of my life. So the world, God, source, universe, whatever you believe, wanted to get my attention. So in 2008, I actually paralyzed my right leg from the waist down. And it took every identity I have. It just stripped your entire ego away. And then I went on and healed that leg, the paralyzed leg, and then took that into finishing Ironman in 2011. And since then, Jeanene, I've never gotten on a bicycle again. So then, I started, once again, the ego took over. And when I say ego, I'm not meaning egotistical. I mean the ego, the subconscious mind, the thoughts of I'm not enough, and I'm trying to prove to everyone else that I was enough, except the one person that I needed to prove it to, which was me. And really going in. So I had avoided that. And then in 2013, I had a really bad injury to my leg. And after 3 months of antibiotics, I started to experience 25 to 30 strokes per day.
My God.
That was the scariest of everything I've ever gone through, because every time I stood up, the right side of my body would paralyze. And literally, I couldn't walk out the door, and I was hiding it from everybody. So now I was starting to experience a severe case of avoidance and denial. And then, but it introduced me into a stage of food as medicine, really saying, okay, what am I eating? What am I putting in my body? And realizing that your good gut bacteria outnumbers your cells 100 to 1 plus. So it's been said that around 100 to 1, but even more than that. And if you have 32 trillion cells inside your body, I don't even think a calculator could calculate that number of how much good bacteria you had. I'd stripped it all out. So as I started to replace this, the strokes went away and have never returned. But it was the start of multiple sclerosis for me. Being the Epstein-Barr virus, I allowed the Epstein-Barr virus to run rampant inside my body and started to notice symptoms. Avoided those symptoms for 4 years. And then in 2017, I was diagnosed with primary progressive multiple sclerosis. And I remember my neurologist looking at me and saying, "You're 6 months from a wheelchair." Mm-hmm. And she goes, "I want you to get on this medication." I'm reading the sheet in her office, and I'm like, wait a second, it says it's only 27% effective. She goes, "Yep, it's the best one we have for primary progressive." And I said, "Yeah, but if I give you a 27% chance you make it home safe when you leave the office, do you leave?"
I love that. I love that. I love that you had the awareness right then and there to say that to her. That was so perfect.
And it was because right at that time, somebody had given me the book Medical Medium. Oh. And I read chapter 4, and I was like, wait a second. You can actually do something about this. You can improve your symptoms. You essentially could heal it. And so my mindset started to flip in that time. And that's when I started writing my book. And it took 4.5 years for me to finish my book, not just because of the content I was putting into it, but because of myself. I still at this time did not think I was enough. I was in high degrees of stress. I was not really working down this road of really understanding and loving me along the process. But then as it unfolded, I started to think differently about myself. I started to adopt different habits. I started to take care of myself. I started to honor my body. And I love what you do, Jeanene, because you look at healing from those 3 levels that are critical: soul, mind, and body. If we're not taking care of our body, how are we going to support anything that we're doing that is our mindset? If we wake up every morning and we're noticing symptoms galore coming in, it's really hard to have a positive mindset.
And we have to override those thoughts that are on this loop every morning. They start every morning as soon as you wake up. Right. Okay, what's today going to be like? What can't I do today? And then talk about how that sets you up for the rest of the day, that first thought.
Yeah. And like, even if you have the best affirmations in the world, you can't bullshit yourself.
You can't bullshit yourself. You can say those things. I'm going to have a great day. I'm going to have a fucking great day. You don't feel it. They're just words.
You put your feet on the floor, you start shuffling to the bathroom, and then you notice like, oh my God, my walking is getting worse. But this starts to craft into our identity of who we think we are. And then that starts to lead to our language. Do you say I have, or were you diagnosed with it?
So many people, right? Do you find the same thing? So many people say my MS. I'm like, wow, Rowe would so yell at you right now if you said that. We say that all the time.
Passion. Yeah.
In our group, we're always like, would Matt Rowe approve of that? No. So it's not your MS. You don't want it. You don't own it. No, this is, the MS I was diagnosed with, that stupid diagnosis, that, those are the words you can identify with. I loved when you said your mindset changed when you realized you had choices. As soon as you read that medical medium book and went, wait a second, there's something I can do. Because you're sitting in the doctor's office and they're like, sorry, there's no cure. There's nothing you can do. You're going to be in a wheelchair. And if no other information came into your mind, you'd be like, oh, okay, that's what I'm working towards. And that's what your mind would work towards. And your body just follows along.
Exactly. And what you're talking about is you actually, when you're in the doctor's office, and I've seen it often referred to, and I believe in this, that it's almost post-traumatic stress syndrome.
Oh, definitely.
Is that when you are in the office and the doctor goes, even to the point, Jeanene, is when I went to my general practitioner and he goes, well, I want you to go see a neurologist. I'm like, why the hell am I going to get an MRI and a neurologist? All of a sudden the fear started to happen. And you very well know, we've done this exercise before. In 60 seconds, I can trigger a stress response and I can predict with 100% probability what you will say. Now, Jeanene, you've done this exercise so many times that I would imagine you're like, oh yeah, I know exactly what he's doing. But
okay, wait, hold on. Look at me. I'm throwing my pen. I just got so excited to tell you this. We talk all the time. And a lot of the sessions that you do in the group, I've heard a million times. I still pick up something new every single time you speak, every single time. Like just now when we were talking about the ego, when you said the ego controlled your life, I'm like, a lot of people don't realize that, like, you are not your thoughts. So anyway, we're going to go back to that. But yeah, the fear programs, we go through that trauma in the doctor's office, and then the path is set. And until you have options, until you build that library of evidence of, wow, people have healed, I can do this, I have choices. Wait a second, maybe I don't want to take this path that the doctor just said I'm on. Maybe I don't have to. So the fear programs, that was one of my favorite sessions that you do in the group. The fear programs, the outer boundaries, pushing against the outer boundaries, that's a big one. And every time you do that class, I find something new. I find another nuance in my brain where I'm like, I didn't even realize that was me pushing against my outer boundary.
Yeah.
And you don't just push through the boundary, right? You kind of bounce off of it. And then you go back into your comfort zone. And then you're like, wait a second, maybe I can do this.
In your mind, that entire time, every time you push on that boundary, that's your subconscious mind pushing you back, going, oh, no, Jeanene, don't do that. You need to be safe. We want you in this container, because your subconscious mind is, number one job is to keep you alive. Think about what the subconscious mind does. It beats your hearts, you breathe because of it, your liver functions, your kidneys operate, your food digests, all happening without a thought in your mind. But your subconscious mind runs 93% of your thoughts. So now all of a sudden, now granted, those thoughts don't just end with biological functioning. It actually goes on to keeping you safe. Imagine.
That's important. I want you to repeat that. It doesn't just stop with biological functioning. So 93% of your subconscious thoughts, a big percentage of that is responsible for the function of your organs, and so that you're breathing and you don't have to think about that all day. But there's a large percentage of your subconscious brain that is responsible for what you're thinking and your actions that just automatically happen. So what do you tell people when they're like, I know I should be doing this, I want to do this, but something's keeping me from doing it. I don't know how to get past that. What would you say to them?
I would tell them to be aware. Once we become aware of it, just like what we were talking about with the exercise right now, Jeanene, when I was talking about the numbers exercise, is that once you are aware of what I am doing, you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to make a different choice. Then all of a sudden,
God, we're going to do that today. We should do that today, because I'll tell you what, I try to get you every time. I try to get you every time. I'm like, you're not going to get me. And you do. You get me every time. So we'll see how I do this time.
That's the difference between reacting and responding. Now, granted, this is a thought process. This is a neural pathway in the mid-center of your brain, a neural pathway that has been developed for the last 10,000 years. You haven't evolved in 10,000 years. So really, you're basically driving on that aspect. So imagine 10,000 years ago, you step out of your home and you see a tiger standing in front of you. Do you think about the tiger? Are you like, oh my God, that's the cutest tiger in the world. I wonder if I could ride it to my buddy's house and then I could hunt with it. And then this could be my tiger friend. And I could, no, if you thought about that for a second, for an iota, you would have been eaten by the tiger. Then you then wouldn't go on to have children. Your gene line wouldn't perpetuate. And then you wouldn't actually be propelling the genetic code moving forward for the human race. So what happens is we go into a fight, flight, freeze response immediately. We don't think about the tiger. We fight the tiger, we run from the tiger, or we freeze and hide from the tiger. So really under that perspective is we don't even think about our reactions when things come. So we react to situations. Think of a moment of fear. Think of, now you drive a car. When somebody slams their brakes on in front of you unexpectedly, do you think about how bright those lights are?
No, you just slam on your brakes immediately. You don't even think about it.
But then you do something else. So do you give them the finger? Do you drop the F-bomb a couple of times?
I'm married to someone who automatically gives them the finger. Me? No.
Yeah.
No, I don't get angry right away. I really think that's a guy response, or at least the men in my life. I don't get angry. I slip on the brakes and I'm like, oh, what the hell? Okay, maybe I get a little angry.
Yeah, there you go. You go, what the hell? But what you're actually having is you're having a stress response come into the body. And what this is happening is this is actually stopping you, stopping the ability for you to digest food. This is stopping biological functioning, because you got to remember, like when you slam on your brakes, if somebody does it unexpectedly in front of you, your hands get tingly. You start to notice like energy coming through your body because you've got to react fast to keep yourself alive. So your subconscious mind is, its only job is to keep you alive, but it's not concerned with you living. There's a different play on words there. It wants to keep you alive. Say that again.
That was important. It's not concerned with
whether you, it is only concerned with whether you are alive. It's not concerned if you are living. So it doesn't, it's not concerned that if you're happy, if you're joyful, if you're healthy, if you are living a loving life that we all want to live. Your subconscious mind doesn't give a shit. No. It's like, I did my job, you're alive, congratulations. And it's like, yeah, but I'm not walking today. And think of an MS diagnosis. Think of
my mind went there immediately, right to the point when I was diagnosed, when the doctor said, could you just be happy that nobody dies from MS? Jeanene, you're not going to die. I'm like, dude, I can't fucking walk. What do you mean tell me be happy?
Yeah. Your doctor, what's the subconscious mind? Mm-hmm. Oh, shouldn't you be happy that you breathe today? Mm-hmm. But this plays in. We're going to use that in any one of our mindsets with different elements of how we actually help it, perpetuate it, continually enter in a state of what we're talking about, the difference between a sympathetic nervous system, which is fight, flight, freeze, which is actually not allowing the body to digest food, make healthy cells, like doing all of this type of stuff. For example, I'm going to paint a picture of this. A sympathetic nervous system. Did Barack Obama look different from the first day of presidency to the last day of presidency?
What a great example. That poor man aged so much. He didn't have gray hair at the beginning.
No. It just the stress and everything with him. Really, and I bet you if you look at him today, he looks younger.
He does. I did see him today, and he absolutely does. It was amazing at the end of his run. I was like, my God, that poor man.
He aged. And so this is what happens to the body, because you're made of proteins. So really what's happening is if you're making cells, which make the protein, and if you're making cells off of a duplicate of a cell, a feared response, think of stress, long-term unmitigated stress, the stress of the diagnosis of multiple sclerosis, the stress of not walking, what you're telling yourself, the stress that you're living with, perpetuates us of not achieving health.
Because we're looking around and we're looking at our little kids and we're going, what is life going to be like in 5-10 years? Am I going to be able to take care of them? There is no way that you can sit in that doctor's office, get that diagnosis, and not think about that and how that's going to impact you, your kids, your husband, your family every single day. And then someone comes along and says, oh, no, you can heal. You have options. And you're like, wait, I do? That's great. So then you get on that path, right? But then you got to work on this because that fear is still there. You're still dealing with that original trauma, even though you're over here going, okay, I have options. I can do this. There's always that, but what if, which is where the mindset work comes in. So that's a really fun exercise. I love that exercise. And it's nice and quick. If you're up for it, were you planning on doing that today?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. You guys ready? So what I need you guys to do right now is pull out a piece of paper and a pencil, pen, it doesn't matter, but have a blank piece of paper that you can write on. Okay, you guys ready? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call out a series of numbers. Then I'm going to ask you to write down an item, call out more numbers, have you write down another item, and then more numbers, and then we'll complete. It'll take about 90 seconds. You guys ready to do this?
So wait, guys. So everything, he's going to call out numbers. So every number that he calls out, you got to write it down. You got to write down all the numbers. And after a chunk of numbers, he's going to say to write down something. And then he's going to start up with the numbers again. And you just write as quickly as you can. So we're all doing it together. All right. Is everyone ready? We're on a delay here. So I just want to make sure. Someone give me a yes, I'm ready, to make sure we are caught up. Okay, so people are on. Okay, we just got our first one. Thank you very much. Yes, we are ready. All right.
Okay, 17, 84, 96, 32, 105, 17, 6, 7, 42, 93, 96, 72, 7, 15, 43, 63, 74, 85, 96, 74, 73, 79, 72. Write down a color. 17, 15, 18, 16, 109, 32, 46, 1, 17, 7, 85, 94, 63, 72. Write down a piece of furniture. 17, 42, 63, 72, 85, 96. Stop.
I swear you get faster with those numbers every time. Okay. You're getting good. You're getting a lot of practice there, because I felt like I used to be able to keep up, and now I'm like, Matt, come on. And
I've been doing this exercise for 11 years.
You definitely got faster.
It is. Well, and it's funny when you get to a bunch of ego-driven, now I'm talking egotistical driven CEOs that are like, okay, this is what I want. So, okay. So what just happened is you went under a minor amount of stress, because I called out those numbers fast. Yeah, so Jeanene, since no one else, and since I can't see everybody's feedback immediately, I'm going to pick on you a little bit, Jeanene.
Let's do it, because it's something really funny happened this time that's never happened before. So go ahead.
So when I asked you for a color, Jeanene, did you write down, and anybody that's listening to this right now, if I call out the color that you wrote, just put a Y in the comment. Yes, in the comment. So ready? Blue, green, red, yellow, orange, purple, black.
Okay, the reason why I'm not giving you an answer as to what I wrote down, because normally I write down the first color that I see, right? You know what I did? So I'm writing down the numbers, the numerical numbers that you're writing. And as soon as you said write down a color, I wrote out the word 6. I wrote out a number. I was under such stress that SIX came out. I'm like, what the hell? And then next to it, I wrote down red, and then I was behind on the next set of numbers. And I've had practice doing this.
That is a beautiful example. And I forgot to say, if you didn't write down anything at all, that's a yes for you. And if you wrote down a color,
like the word a color,
then that's a yes for you. Now, when I asked you for a piece of furniture, did you write down desk, chair, table, bed, couch? What did you write down, Jeanene?
I wrote down couch, and we're getting a lot of yeses in the answers.
Yes. So this is what happens. You didn't give me armoire. credenza. You didn't give me something that is really that requires our prefrontal cortex, which is our logical thought. So under that moment of stress, what I put you under is actually released adrenaline into your system. Because what were you doing? You could even see it in your face is when it started crying, you smiled like, oh God.
Here we go again. I thought I was better at this. Yeah.
You're releasing emotion of like, you're wanting to like release the pressure of the emotion. So we smile or we laugh or we joke or we do things like that just to release this pressure. It's kind of like hitting the relief valve on a pressure cooker. Yeah. So then under that premise is you don't give me something new. Now, if you've done this exercise before, you then go, you know what, I'm not going to write the numbers down. And you're thinking of the color. You are responding now based
rather than reacting.
Instead of reacting. Now, when you react, because I have adrenaline coming out into your system, I actually get cortisol to release nanoseconds later, which is cortisol clouds our prefrontal cortex or blocks clarity of thought. So this is why when we're in a doctor's office and the doctor gives us a really tough piece of news, we're like, yeah, like, and we're in a moment of fear. You have adrenaline that's releasing, you have cortisol that's releasing into your system, and your clarity of thought is not there. So then when the doctor suggests something, you're like, okay, yeah, just sign me up for it. Let's just do that. We're reacting to what they do. We do this in our lives. Think of the last time you got in an argument with a loved one, a partner, spouse, or whoever you live with.
Good example.
If you get in an argument, you become a genius 20 minutes later.
20 minutes later, an hour later, you're so right. You're like, why didn't I say this back? Why did I say that?
God, that would have been so good. I could have gotten him with this and this would have driven my, but at that time you couldn't. It was impossible for you to think. And so we'll even use language to say like, why do I sound like my mother? Yes. Why do I sound? That's the exact same thing my mother I used to hate it when she said that, but in a moment of stress, you actually go to a different part of your brain, which is your basal ganglia, where long-term memory and thought is stored.
Is that your comfort zone?
That's your comfort zone. That is when you're in a moment of fear. When you go to walk in the morning and you're not walking very well, then all of a sudden negative thoughts are negative, and you'll feel negative energy in your body, and you'll feel negative thoughts when they come in. And then you essentially, if you know this, you could start shaming yourself. Oh, why did I think that? You know, Matt said not to think that way. And you know that I never say my philosophy, there is no right or wrong. There's just awareness.
It's just awareness.
Where I want to be. So you asked me what a good first step as we come in. Just be aware of the thought. Be aware of the thought when it comes in, because then if I'm aware of it, I can take a breath and go, how do I want to be? Like, even like, let's say I'm halfway to the bathroom. I have to go to the bathroom really bad. I'm halfway to the bathroom. I'm not walking really well. I can say, take a deep breath and go, okay, it's okay. And offer yourself compassion and saying, it's okay. I will walk. Come on, legs. It's time to move. It's time to go. I had a client that so beautifully did this. She was walking up the stairs. She was having a rough day with her MS symptoms, and she needed to walk up the stairs to go to bed. And she goes, I stood there on the first step and I said, all right, mind, help my legs out. We are walking up these steps and I'm going to make it to the top. Very strong. And she goes, I immediately, in the next thought, without even thinking about it, I just started to walk up the steps one after another. You have a beautiful individual that I know that's on here today, who we all know her, Ginger Anderson, who did this exact thing. But know that some days are going to be good and some levels you're going to go down in. And some days are going to be good and some levels we drop down in. The ones we drop down in gives us an opportunity to take a look and observe and be aware of the stress that may have caused it. Could it be a symptom that showed up? Could it be cog fog? Could it be a phone call from your mother? Something, an argument that you were just in, because as we know, stress equals symptoms. I haven't met anybody in all the work I've ever done for all the years that I've done it. I've never met anybody that says, I was really stressed out and I walked so well.
No, never.
Nobody
It's
does.
always when they're having a great time and they forget. They forget that they have symptoms. They forget to grab their cane and they just walk. And what happens? We know who we're talking about right now. What happens as soon as they remember?
As soon as you remember, you start thinking about whether or not you can.
And then you reach for the cane because, oh no, I need my cane. You didn't. You didn't. When you forgot you needed your cane, you were walking just fine. The minute she said, and then I remembered, oh my God, I need my cane. I'm walking without my cane. And then then I need my cane.
She's bringing stress up. Just that little bit right there. I need my cane is starting to get her to breathe shorter. So our breath actually starts telling our body how to react. Are you in a moment of stress? So think of it. If you're in a moment of danger, or let's just say, use the car analogy, when somebody slams their brakes on, are you taking deep breaths? Are you like, I hit my brakes so fast? No, you're breathing rapidly. You've actually shortened into a hyperventilative breath to get as much oxygen into your system, which it's a short-term fix to what your body really needs, which is to be in rest and repair. So all of us on this call right now, how do we get our bodies into a constant state of rest and repair, that homeostasis? And I love how you do this with food. Like, you're looking at it as, what are you ingesting when you wake up in the morning? Are you having a glass of celery juice? I'm going to take another. What do you tell yourself when you're drinking that celery juice? I love it. You guys all know Rhonda Dodson. I love how Rhonda Dodson takes her celery juice and she's like, I got my green magic potion. Whether that's true or not, she believes that. So then when she drinks it, every cell in her body is now starting to go, that's green magic potion. You're starting to, because you got to remember, every cell in your body is your thought. Because your cell, inside of every one of your cells is an atom. And inside that atom is nothing. But one thing they saw is when they observed the atom, it changed. It altered. So that they started to identify, Einstein started to see this, is that cell itself, the atom inside that cell, is just energy. And that energy inside that cell is produced by your thought. So thinking about it this way, if your cells are mass duplicating, so since we've been on this call for 34 minutes, you have made 600,000 new cells.
Isn't that amazing?
So what information are you giving those cells? Are you giving those cells information if, you know what, I am healing? Or are you giving that cells information of, I'm getting worse?
Well, right now, in these past 30 minutes, my cells got some really good information because I was on the call with you. And that's why I say you got to create that app so that at any given moment, we can pick up our phones and have Matt Rowe in our ears, right? Changing our vibration. Because I'm sitting here and I have to remember, all right, we're on a workshop here where I got to ask them questions because I get so caught up in what you're saying. I'm like, yeah, awareness. And then I go back to the fight with my husband and I'm like, I reacted. I didn't respond. Yeah. I just reacted. And then I'm like, Jeanene, think about the next question you have to ask them. How you do this, you know, the awareness that you bring to us in that calm voice that allows us to hear it. Because I feel like a lot of times, all the time, okay, when I'm talking, I'm like, blah, 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 blah. And then we got on the call with Matt and Matt's like, okay, so what you're going to want to do is, and it's so nice to just relax and listen to this and have the time to think about it. Now, let's go back to awareness, because I'm getting that awareness is the answer to everything. Mm-hmm. You don't have to work, and correct me if I'm wrong here. What I'm over the years of working with you and you being in the program and hearing this over and over again, awareness is just the thought of what's going on without the reaction. So you just take a step back and you go, rather than go, no, you're wrong. No, you did that, right? Or no, I can't walk. Instead of reacting with such emotion, just take 2 seconds and go, how would I like to respond to this? And I'll tell you what, that is not easy though. That 2 seconds to just say to yourself, how would I like to respond to this?
Yeah.
That is the awareness. And once you have that awareness, you have choices. You can then choose to respond to however you want. And what I found is by just raising my awareness in situations, by just raising my awareness, the next step comes easily. It comes easily. And it's changed the way I coach people. In my words yesterday, when we were talking about water and what lemon water does to the body, I was saying how now that you have this information, now that you know what water does to your body, you watch. Tomorrow when you wake up, you're not going to say, God damn it, I need to drink water. I feel like drinking water. No, you're automatically going to go, I'm going to go get some water. Like it's an automatic thing because your brain has been made aware of new information.
Right.
Change is not hard. Raising your awareness might be the challenge if you don't know how to do it.
Yes.
Right.
And think of all of your past. The subconscious mind is just your history. It's your past. So what if in your past, every time you walked downstairs, you got yelled at or asked to do something? So for example, oh, you didn't clean your room today. Oh, you didn't make this happen. And what happens is our scripts get built between the ages of 3 to 14 years of age. We are incredible observers during this period of our life. And so then different trigger events come up in our life, even to the point of going downstairs to go get a glass of water. Because our brain is once again trying to keep us alive. So it's like, okay, there was this one moment 24 years ago when you walked downstairs and you got yelled at. So let's make sure you're prepared for that.
That's again, your subconscious brain trying to just keep you safe. It's not trying to make you live a good life. It just wants you safe and alive. It's only job.
And you have cells inside your body that are already pre-built to prepare for that stress, even though it was 28 years ago. You have made cells. I mean, you're mass duplicating cells. And if you're not making cells off of new information, then you're making cells off of old information inside of your body.
Matt, again, every time I listen to you, there's something new here. Guys, these interviews are never prepared. We never do anything in advance. We just have a conversation. So I have the same revelations that you guys are having at the same time. When we talk about the protocol, we're going to talk about this tomorrow or Friday. The antioxidants that we bring into our body and how our body is always replicating cells, whether it's a healthy cell or whether it's a free radical cell, the free radical cells that cause cancer and disease and chronic illness. We're constantly duplicating cells. And that is in science. That's easy enough for us to go find and understand, right? I don't think it's as the information is as readily available as to when our thoughts duplicate. The information in our cells, in our brain that contain the programming, they're also duplicating.
Yes. Your thoughts are energy. And anybody that's like, well, wait a second, how can my thought be energy? Think of a moment in your life when you were drained, you were tired. It could have been after an athletic event. It could have been after doing something. It could be after being up all night studying. Could be even after MS, symptoms starts to rise up and we're just exhausted and we can't sleep. In that moment, let's say your family is gone. Let's say, like I have a son that's in college, so I use that as an example. Let's say my son, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I've been working all day, and I have no energy. And then my son calls me and says, I got a quick flight home. I can come see you right now. What happens to my energy? Even look,
you come back to life. This has happened to me over and over.
Immediately, that thought of seeing my son created energy and created cells that were full of energy and now excited. And now I'm ready to go. And I throw on my clothes and jump in the shower and I head over to the airport and I have a really good time. Think of it this way too. It can work the other way. When we wake up in the morning, and if we tell ourselves the very first thought we have in the morning, you open your eyes and let's say your thought is, I'm going to have to try to get through today. God, I hope my walking's better than yesterday. And it's all of a sudden, you can hear it in my voice is drained. Then all of a sudden, your body's like, oh, you need those cells to keep you alive. Your subconscious mind is now driving those cells. Now, granted, I said 93% of your thoughts are subconscious, but you have 7% of your thoughts.
That whole 7% you have control over.
Absolutely. So now your conscious mind, your prefrontal cortex, has this beautiful ability to go create new thoughts, new energy, new cells, like the example I gave you. 80% of those thoughts are statistically negative.
Yeah. Oh, I can.
We're nicer.
Percentage is higher. Yeah.
Yeah. Than our own cells. We'll tell ourselves, think of the last time you dropped something. What did you say? Did you say, oh, I just dropped something?
No, everyone knows what I said. I said, oh, fuck.
Yeah, we say, oh, fuck you, idiot. Like, God, how can you be so clumsy?
Again, Jeanene? Jesus fucking. Oh, I shouldn't say that. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll say things to us, but this is an aspect. When we look at this, how do we love ourselves in every moment of our lives? If I have 7% of my thoughts that I can control, do I want to use that 7% reacting to a situation or responding the way that I want to? Then if I actually asked you right now which way you would like to respond, most likely you would lead towards, if you
most of the time, I would like to respond positively.
In a state of calm, thinking that you are in a beautiful field with a river running in front of you, deer are dancing in the back, how do you feel?
Relaxed, peaceful, and healthy.
Oh, healthy. And that's, relaxed and peaceful. That's love. That's love for in here. This is the way your body naturally wants to respond. This is the soul. Yeah. This is the soul's drive of all this. We are born on this planet with one desire, and that desire is love. Nothing else. With love, we'll get food, shelter, and you could say all the physical doing aspects, but how we are being is love. What do we want? When we're born, when Jack was born, what did he want? He wanted to lay on his mom's chest.
Hugs and love and kisses and
100%. And he still wants this.
Yeah.
And he'll come up to you and snuggle with you. But in our life, if we don't experience that at a young age, we go seeking for breadcrumbs of love.
And we accept the breadcrumbs because we think that's all we're going to get.
Right. But what we're learning is learning how to make our own bread. We're learning how to no longer look for love outwardly. We look from love from within here.
I love that analogy. That's great because we're always looking for breadcrumbs, right? And you're like, no, we're going to learn how to make our own bread. That love is coming from us. Because we no longer care about the breadcrumbs that are around us.
100%. This is naturally who you are. So then we start thinking about, should I eat this? Or we start taking a look at gluten and we're like, maybe last week it was like, oh, I got to stop eating gluten. This is a pain in the ass. And we start to bring it upon like, this is the worst thing in the world. Is that love? Or when we start loving ourselves, you're like, oh my gosh, I get to eat a salad today. Holy cow, I get to eat these organic, awesome vegetables. And you get excited about spring coming because more new vegetables are growing. And like you're looking at the beauty of life in the present moment. So there's all these things that go and play into this. And what you have seen with thought leaders, with other individuals like myself, as we start to drive through these elements, is once you are aware of how you react, you're like, under your own premise, under your own direction, you will always lean towards love.
Always, right? And So here we have the 93% that is the subconscious driving everything. And the only way we know what's going on there is by our actions. And we can say, oh, where did that come from?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the subconscious. And then we have the conscious, which is the 7%. And the 7% is, most of that is negative. But what we don't realize is that we have a choice. It doesn't have to be negative. The default is negative, right?
Yeah.
But we have the choice. We can choose to change what's going on in that conscious mind. And it's not easy. It's not something you're like, oh, I'm going to choose to be happy today. And I love your analogy because I have been using it now for years since you told me about it. You told me about Richard. We'll tell everyone who Richard is in just a second. But I find myself now throughout the day, those negative thoughts will come in. I'll tell you, after the first workshop day on Monday, it was great. I had great engagement. I'm making connections. 15 minutes after the workshop ended, Jeanene, what are you doing? Who do you think you are? You wanted to do so much, and now you barely did what you wanted to do. No one's going to appreciate this. No one's going to like. And I'm like, whoa. Now I know to go. What are you doing? What are you doing? That's not true at all. All right, why don't you just take a break from that and let's focus on all the good stuff. And it's funny because I had the Monday coaching call at 3:00 that day. And when I told them, listen, guys, you're not the only ones. We all do it no matter where you are in life, because I used to always think, once I heal my MS, life is going to be smooth sailing. Life is just going to be so easy. And yes, it did get easier, but I wouldn't say it's easy. We're constantly in a state of healing and we're constantly learning these tools. So please talk about Richard and introduce people to Richard.
I will. I'm going to take one side. I'm going to take a little rabbit trail.
Please
I'm not going to go deep into it. You said, once I am healed, once I have healing within me, I will be happy.
Yep. That's what I thought all the time, which is why it took me so long to heal.
Exactly, because you are running the recipe on have, do, be. Once I have this, I will do this, and I will be this.
Then I will be happy, right?
What if that recipe was reversed? Because what you were really doing is, once you are being it, you do the things that you like to do, and then you have it. So, for example, if I am happy throughout my day, if I'm joyful, if I'm aware of my negative thoughts, if I'm aware of all of this, I am being compassionate to myself. I am being joy. I am being love. But no matter what is happening, I observe it and I respond the way that I want to with love. And I'm just being like, I don't care if you are in a bed. I don't care if you're in a wheelchair. Now, I care for you compassionately. But it doesn't matter what our current state is. But I do know for myself, if I am frustrated, if I'm being frustrated, then I can't do a lot. And then what I have are symptoms of multiple sclerosis. If I'm being joy, then you know what? I'll encourage myself to stand up. And I'll encourage myself to say, okay, 20 seconds standing next to my chair without touching anything. Or like what Rhonda Donson did, or Ginger. What Ginger did was shot a video of her dancing.
She turned on the music and then she's like, I'm going to dance. Why the hell not? And she danced.
Being happy. And then in her doing, she danced. So then she had symptom free. So in that recipe, so what happens is you have a negative voice inside your head. You have all heard this little voice. That's the voice Jeanene was talking about. That little voice that's like, you're not smart enough to do this. Your sister's a doctor. You didn't even you were just a psychology major. You really.
Yeah, who the hell are you?
Who the hell are you? You're not really good at this. You remember that company you bankrupted? You remember this that you did? It reminds me of all.
Oh, you get deep. You get mean.
Oh, it gets mean. And so then when I started to be aware of this voice, I called him Richard. And I'm like, Richard, I really don't need it. Then Richard and I would get in arguments. And then Richard and I would fight each other. And this is all happening in my mind. I could be in a grocery store having an argument with Richard, physically talking to Richard, being like, you know what, you shut up right now. You go in your little corner. But every time I fought him, he got stronger and then he got meaner. And then his name changed from Richard to Dick.
I love
And
it.
I'd be like, Dick, go sit on the curb. I don't need you right now. Go away. And so what I found was the meaner that I was to my subconscious voice, the stronger it came back. And it knew every angle to go at because it was me.
Mm.
It was my thought. It was in my head. No one told me to think this. So I had an opportunity to love him. And when I started to love him, he quieted down.
And quickly, and right,
Very
and
quick,
quickly.
because
It's not something you have to work at. You have to work on deciding to be nice to your mind. But once
right.
you decide that and you start being kind to that voice that's telling you can't do shit, because it's not something you want to do. You want to go back at that voice and be like, what the fuck? Why?
Mhm.
But as soon as you decide, all right, let me try this, and you go, it's okay. I understand. You're trying to keep me safe. You hear that little voice going, yeah, I am. Okay, well, I don't need that right now. What I want to do is this, and I need support. All right, I'll back off.
Yeah.
But it's immediate how that happens. I was shocked by that because you're so right. You go back at Richard and you're like, shut the fuck up. I don't need this. And he's like, oh, yeah, you do. Let me tell you why you need this. You can't do shit. And it gets louder and louder. It's the kindness, the love, right? Just the love. It neutralizes everything immediately.
Immediately. Because remember, who are you? You are love.
I thought I got that answer right. I am love.
We are all love. This is our basis, but we forget this element because as we grew up, we start seeking love outwardly from others.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes that love does not get returned the way that we need or the way that we want. So then all of a sudden our scripts start to get built to keep us alive. Your subconscious mind is keeping you alive. See, I'm bringing this all back full circle. And this is the work. This is the work that when you are here at this moment gives us this opportunity to say, okay, am I aware of that thought? Really being guided along this path. This is something that I do in the programs that I have. And the program that I have is called Thrive. My goal is your goal, is for you to thrive with multiple sclerosis. Because then if you become aware of these moments and then have the tools to deal with them in that exact moment, then all of a sudden you're starting to reverse the cells in your body. You're starting to reverse your thought patterns and you're starting to do the work. You start to take a moment that, let's say, that upset you in the past, and you're looking at it with compassion and love, and you may set a healthy boundary. You, even with yourself, you may set a healthy boundary. You may start to change the way of what you tell yourself when you drop something and you're aware of it. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, this is this. And this, it's a very gentle, compassionate path along that. It's a journey to radical self-love.
Yeah, I love that. Radical self-love. Yeah.
With radical self-love, you heal disease. This is when anybody that I have known that steps out of wheelchairs, that I've had the pleasure of guiding through, that changes their lives, that sends me a message saying I'm touching sand on my feet for the first time in 10 years, is when they stepped into state of radical self-love and their body started to enter into a regular state of rest and repair, homeostasis, allowing every cell to heal. Because that's what you're healing. You're not just healing multiple sclerosis. You are healing something much deeper than multiple sclerosis. And
that's the key, the continuous state of peace. That's the goal. And anyone watching here, I don't want you to think, well, that's impossible. I thought the same thing. Well, that's impossible. I can't live in a constant state of peace. Okay, you can. Maybe you can. You can, but maybe you can't right now. But even if you just kind of visit the state of peace more often throughout your day, that's going to make a huge improvement in the way your thoughts are running and the way your thoughts are duplicating. Am I right with that?
100%.
Just visit. Try to make an effort. Raise your awareness and try to make an effort to visit that state of peace just a little bit more often, maybe once or twice today. And then you're like, all right, that actually felt good. Maybe I should try it more tomorrow. And eventually being in a state of peace becomes easy. But you don't go to the gym and say, I'm going to be a bodybuilder next week. So watch me.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to work out every day this week, and I'm going to be in, peak performance in a week. Nothing happens quickly like that. We have to work at everything and develop the muscle. How long did it take you to train? What did you say for the triathlon? How long did it take you to train?
It took me 4 years to make All-American, and it took me a year to actually be able to complete Ironman.
And that was something where I bet you were just following the instruction of your trainer, and you would go to the gym and they would say, okay, do this today. And you're like, okay. And you do that today. That's easy. And that took you 4 years because the body does not change that quickly. Now think about the mind that has been conditioned for your entire life in one way. And you're like, well, this way sounds great, but it's going to be really hard. Yeah, it is going to be really hard, but it's not going to be as hard as you think it is. Because with these tools, with Matt Rowe coaching you through it all, like everything we talked about today, I feel like we touched on all the different classes that you hold, right? So you'll take one of the concepts that we talked about today and really dive deep into the brain and how to work around it and work with it. Each concept is another class because it requires training. It requires regular training in order to get good at this. And so bring it back to the happy has to come first. So what I'm learning is life is just a journey of healing. It's just a journey of healing. I remember when I thought once I healed MS, like everything was going to be fine. Nope, there is more healing to be happening. So then what I've learned now after that whole thing is that the happy does have to come first, and the healing happens a lot more quickly when I give myself grace. I remember beating myself up mentally on a daily basis. I mean, I would be driving through tears going, why is everyone else thriving at life and I suck so bad? Why can't I heal? Why can't I do this? And my ego, my brain would kick in and go, because you suck, because you're not doing everything you're supposed to be doing. I'm like, I know. And it would take me down. And now when those thoughts come in, because you suck, I'm like, hold on, I don't suck. I'm just having a bad day. All right. Let's just work together through this. It gets so much easier as you work towards it, as you practice it, just like you would lifting a weight at the gym.
So, Jeanene, I'm going to ask you a question. If you could go back completely 100% healthy, the way you were before your MS diagnosis, think of your life before the MS diagnosis.
Okay.
But if I could wave a magic wand and make that happen, but you had to forget everything you learned from that moment to now, would you do it?
I wouldn't change anything. No, I don't think I would. I don't know if that's the answer you're looking for, but
no.
Okay.
Everybody I have ever had the pleasure of coaching or leading answer it the same way.
Oh, really? I was like, oh, this is not where he wants me to go. But that was my answer.
Never give up what I know now about me for health. I will create my own health within me, with my possibility, with the new, beautiful me that I am. And this is what happens when we step into radical self-love. We give ourselves this encouragement and this belief. You'll notice your family dynamics change. I love the story of a woman that I was working with, and she said, it's been 4 years that I had not eaten dinner with my family for 4 years. And she goes, my family just brings me food where I'm sitting on the couch. And she would reference herself as, she goes, I feel like the family dog. And I'm like, oh, you are not that. And she goes, I know I'm not, but that's the way I feel. And you could see that her heart was breaking. And then 4 months later, she jumps on our call and she's crying. And I said, tell me what's happening. And she goes, for the last week, my family has invited me to come have dinner at the table and be with them. And I said, what changed? And she goes, I'm the one that changed. She goes, my energy changed, my vibration changed. She goes, everything about me changed very slowly. It almost came by surprise. And she goes, I have my family back. And it was bringing tears to my eyes when I said it, is just that at some point, we start to realize that we are enough. We are an incredible soul that deserves to live a beautiful life, no matter what we were diagnosed with. This is just, like you said at the beginning, this is just a blip in the radar.
Yeah.
This is just a chapter in your book. It is not your entire book. And if you hadn't done this work, Jeanene, look at the people you wouldn't have been able to help. And this is what this is why I get so excited to speak with you every time I have the opportunity to.
Thank you. That was risky before when you asked me that question, and I was thinking about the answer going, and I got a little adrenaline pumping through. I'm like, this is not the answer he wants, because I would not change a thing. I didn't know where you're going. He's never asked me that question before, guys. I didn't know where he was going. It's you can't say this to everybody. I've come across people who, like, the victim mentality, where they hold on to their diagnosis because it's their identity and they want it. So don't tell them that there's another choice. Those are the people where I have to be careful what I say, because I've said in the past, especially at way back in the day in MS support groups, where I would say, MS is my blessing. I know it's taking me places. And today, looking back, I wouldn't change anything, because my God, I needed all of that healing. And all of that information that I got prepared me for the next phase of my life. And then all of that information prepared me for the next phase. And here's the question, Matt, maybe you can answer this, because I'm still searching for the answer. All right, this is a big one. I've never asked you this before. If hindsight proves that everything's going to be okay, and we go through those trials for a reason, right? Hindsight proves everything's going to be okay, and it's all happening for a reason. Why the hell do we still get anxiety about the future? Why do I still go, well, what about this? And I don't know, is this happening for a reason? Like, I still find myself in that anxiety stage, but hindsight has proven it all works out the way it's supposed to.
Because it's the unknown. Anything unknown brings stress. Is your subconscious mind, once again, trying to protect you. So, for example, if there was a tiger in front of your house for every day for the last week, and now Friday comes around, what are you ready for before you even open your door?
The tiger.
Fucking tiger's going to be there.
I
bet you I'd have my spear, my gun, whatever I would have to fight the tiger. And the stress would well inside my body to an anticipated event that is not essentially real. I'm making it real in my mind.
Now, what if, because this is the way it works, what if your thoughts controlled whether or not that tiger was actually going to show up at your door? What we don't realize is that that's actually the way it works.
Yes.
But we don't know that at the time. We don't know if that we could just think something differently and go, you know what, there is not going to be a tiger out there today because I said so. I'm going to have a great day. I'm going to walk outside and there's going to be no tiger. And then the way that it works is that your thoughts control. So then there's no tiger, right? But we don't know that while we're going through it, that our thoughts control everything.
Yep. Whether we think we can or think we can't, we're right.
I love that.
Every thought you have controls an outcome into the future. We are putting it out. Now, if you actually think about it at the quantum level, go even another level deeper.
Let's go deeper.
That at the quantum level, you are actually creating that reality on the quantum plane. This is something Einstein proved. This is just science. And so when you look at energy as it comes out of our body, remember, every one of your cells is energy. So we are emitting this energy outwardly and we become mirrors. So basically that gets reflected right back to us. So think of a moment of fear. Fear gets attracted to us. What we observe disappears or changes, just like inside the atom. And what we love gets attracted to us, because there's only two emotions, fear and love. So if I'm worried about not walking and I go to bed that night and I'm thinking, oh man, tomorrow is my walking going to get worse, or is this going to get, even if I'm telling myself the positive things, you can't bullshit yourself. Your body's like, yeah, but remember today, remember when this happened, remember, it's like your subconscious mind is just always in there. Then all of a sudden you create that reality Because if you actually woke up the next morning and started running, you'd be like, what the hell is going on?
Right. You're like in an alternate universe. Like, what the hell happened? You'd be totally freaked out.
You'd be totally freaked out. Exactly. But now you can sit there at that point and say, this is who I am. This is where I'm going. I am love. I am aware. And you're just aware of these thoughts. And you can even, there's some ways that you can play with this to actually prove to yourself, okay, yeah, my thought does become reality. That this is really what's happening. But if what I'm worried about and what I'm fearful about, I actually bring closer to me, it becomes a reflection of my thought.
And start testing with this, guys. Start playing around with this, because it really is amazing. I think that's the definition of awareness, right? What you said before is what we look at, and this has been proven in quantum physics, what we look at, anything that we look at changes. So that's the awareness. When we're looking at our thoughts, automatically they change. When we go, whoa, hold on, that's a negative thought. Why am I having that? All of a sudden, that changes. Right. And you start, and then you have choices. Well, what do I want to think? It all comes back to awareness. This is what we do, guys. This is what we do. We do it twice a month with Matt Rowe inside Path to Healing. We get down, we get deep, and everyone is on the Zoom call, and everyone's, commenting and like really diving deep into their emotions and the way their mind works. It's awesome. Now, Matt Rowe, now you understand, hopefully, why Matt Rowe is a part of the Path to Healing program, the body, the mind, and the soul. You need that mind work. Now, you have tons of choices. At the end of this week, you're going to have all of this information, and you're going to be able to choose if you want to go it alone, if you want to go to the Path to Healing 4-month program. We have Matt Rowe, we have Catherine Rose, we have Jen Marks. We do it all, body, mind, and soul. Or you might say, you know what? I'm good. I just want to work with Matt directly. You can do that too. Matt offers private sessions. He offers his Thrive, and you have a masterclass coming up, don't you?
Yes, I have a challenge actually happening next week. So definitely go. You can go to my symptom-free MS page on Facebook group is the best way to find it. And there'll be a place in there where you can actually sign up if you haven't already opted in for the challenge. And I'm super excited. Already 250 people have already said that they want to be a part of this challenge. And I'll be giving some things away. You can win a copy of my book, Belief to Heal, all of this other kind of stuff. But just come attend, join me for this 5-day challenge. So it's going to be 4 days of, we're going to be talking about deep mindset work and doing some, and you'll leave every day with an exercise or questions to begin becoming more aware. And then we end the week with a master class. But the only way to get into that master class is for you to be a part of the challenge. And so definitely that's a great way to get started.
It really is. We got to start dipping our toes into this, right? And really start playing around with it so that we can really understand how much fun it is. Because I know for me, I was always in a place of, I don't have any choices. And I always felt stuck. And that's not an energy that you can create anything good from.
Right.
So no one is ever stuck. We always have choices. We don't have to be sick. We don't have to be a prisoner of our own thoughts. We can change everything. It all comes down to utilizing the resources around you and just gaining that knowledge. Matt, thank you so much for today. It is always a pleasure. And I always learn something new. Thank you.
You are such a gift and just a beautiful light. And thank you.
That's how I feel about you. And then really, could you get going on that app? How's that coming? Are you working on that? The app where
it's little stages by little stages, but yeah, sometime.
Yeah. I love having your book and being able to, go to the page and be like, okay, because it feels so good. But I'm telling you, that app where you can just be like, all right, Matt, talk to me, and I can hear your calming
just
voice.
Put your thought in, and then it'll kick you back like a meditation. For the next 5 minutes, I'd like you to just breathe. Yeah. All that fun stuff. Yes.
Oh my God. All right, guys, we're going to let Matt go because I know you have a full schedule today. Thank you so much for everything. I'm going to let you go, and everyone stay on here right now because we have to announce the winner from yesterday's homework challenge. Homework. Matt, we assigned everyone homework today. So in today's homework thread for today, before we announce the winner for tomorrow, your question is, and Matt's going to be looking at these, so make sure you're answering honestly. What was the first thought that you had upon waking up today? Again, going back to raising our awareness. Sometimes we just wake up, we have our thoughts, we go on with our day, and we're not even aware of the negative stuff that's coming in. So I did remember today to, post it at 1:00. So 10 minutes ago, the post is in there. Comment on the thread. What was your first thought when you woke up this morning? And everybody who answers that, tomorrow, we're going to announce the winner. I'm going to put everyone in the jar up there that I'm going to pull down in a second to announce yesterday's winner. You get a choice of a free session with Matt, a free session with Catherine, a $40 Amazon gift card, or 50% off the Path to Healing class. So if you want any of that, enter your answer in the homework thread today. All right, Matt, I will let you go. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon. All right. Bye-bye. All right. So, guys, I'm going to pull this jar down. Oh, okay. And we are going to announce the winner of yesterday's homework thread. So what I do is, because I don't have any technical skills, I print out the entire thread, cut it up, and then put them into little fold them up into little things here. So I'm going to pull out a name, and then you get your choice of prize. Okay, so yesterday the question was, how much water do you drink on average? And this is not to judge it. It's just, again, to raise your awareness. What I've learned from working with Matt is once we raise our awareness, the change happens much more easily. We don't have to work to change. It automatically happens when we raise our awareness. So all of these questions, these homework questions, are simply that, just to raise your awareness. So thank you for answering. And the winner of yesterday's homework challenge is, I wish I had sounds that I can hit, like the drum roll, and make it all nice. One day I'll do that. All right. The winner is Sarah Cars. You have won yesterday's homework challenge, Sarah Cars. So if you're on here right now, awesome, let me know. If you're not, don't worry. I'm going to reach out to you on a private message so we can connect, and you can choose what you want to win. A session with Matt, a session with Catherine, a $40 Amazon gift card, or the 50% off the Path to Healing. So I will, everyone's saying congratulations. Isn't that awesome? All right, Sarah Cars, you're it, CARRS. Guys, tomorrow, day 4 of the workshop, we're going to be talking about the superheroes in the body, how to flood your body with the superheroes that are actually going to kick MS's butts. And it's a really great story and not as hard to do as we think. But there are these things that we can put in our body that are the actual superheroes that pull the crap out and fly through the body. It's really amazing how simple it is to do. And again, we're going to raise your awareness to how simple it can be. So that's going to be tomorrow on day 4. I will download this recording today and get that out in the email. So if you're not getting the emails with the recordings, send me a message and let me know, because everyone who registered should be getting that. That means I have your email address if you registered. Everyone should be getting the recording. So if you're not, let me know, and I will get you on that list. All right. I think I covered everything. I did. Everyone, have a great day today, and I will see you tomorrow for day 4 of the Path to Healing workshop. All right. Bye, everyone.